right, welcome everybody to the Reflections on the 12 Steps with Paul. My name is Michael, and today we just want to let you know that this is not an AA meeting. This is just one member's view on the exact nature of the wrong as described on the big book on page 64. At the end of Paul's little riff, he'll have a question and answer period and perhaps some small shares. Today we'll start out with a reading from the big book. Let's go to page 63, Paul.
All right.
You have your book? Okay.
Yes.
Hold on, I'm trying to do this off my phone. Difficult, yet not impossible. Okay, at the top of 63. When we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. We had a new employer. Being all-powerful, he provided what we needed if we kept close to him and performed his work well. Established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves, our little plans and designs. More and more, we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life. As we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, as we discovered we could face life successfully, as we became conscious of his presence, we began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, or the hereafter. We were reborn. I love the portion where it says that we were reborn, and if you could talk a little bit about when it says we became more interested in seeing what we can contribute to life. Do you think that they're talking about just in our daily life of recovery, or do you think they're talking about maybe life in general?
Well, both. Yeah. I'd say, but all right. Well, welcome everyone. Very happy to be here. Obviously, this is the meat of the program is in how it works, the chapter. And it's quite explanatory how it works. Yeah. So obviously, most of us know when the position they're talking about sincerely taking is that the higher power is going to be the director, we're going to be the directed, yes? Sort of like the idea of the driver and the driven. The driver isn't the driven, nor is the driven the driver, yeah? So this position or this principle is the main principle of recovery, which is not a self-improvement program. It's a reliance on a higher power program, literally. And we come to that reliance by admitting defeat, so to speak. And then the dilemma of powerlessness is solved because we were assuming we had a lot of power and we kept experiencing powerlessness. Very confusing to the head. And now we feel a new power flowing in. We feel this conscious presence and all the other stuff it talks about in this little paragraph. So the new position, Santilli took such a position, is the reliance on a higher power. All sorts of remarkable things followed. Obviously, that should inform you you're on something that works, yes? I mean, there's the tree and then there's the fruit. The fruit verifies the nature of the tree, I would think, yes? If you eat an apple and you don't know what the tree was, it was an apple tree. It's an apple tree. Yeah, so you can know the tree by its fruit, so to speak. You may not be able to recognize it as an apple tree until you see there's apples around it. It's just a little kink or a little twist in how our logic works. Yeah. Just like didn't it sound totally illogical and I could understand the newcomer where they have my ear for 20 minutes and they tell me how screwed they are. And I have to agree, they're completely screwed. They don't have any money. They got to go to court. They don't have a car. They don't have a job. And then when they ask me for advice, I say, go to a meeting. Now that doesn't land with any sense because they think they have all of these problems that they're dealing with it is avoiding it, and they demand attention, and their strategy is to avoid it at all costs. And now they're sitting outside of a meeting because they're completely screwed. Yes. Yeah. And so they want an answer that fits their logic. And the answer that we give, which is go to a meeting, doesn't fit that logic because the solution doesn't come from where the problem comes from. And a lot of our mental logic is the expression of the deep-rooted problem of addiction and alcoholism. Yeah. So if they go to the meeting, they probably will find out the other shit works itself out. If they don't go to the meeting and they try to control and manage the shit, it gets worse. Yes. I had this lady I used to share, the hospital and institutions where you would have a commitment to go into some place once a month. Yeah. After 6 months where we lived in San Francisco of sobriety, you could get into this hospital and institution thing. So I had a couple of those commitments, and one of them was with this lady at this program in South of Market in San Francisco. Now, she was a perfect partner because she had been in all the programs that were located on this property. Yeah. She had graduated. She was like an incredible demonstration of something working. And she had about 11 years of sobriety. And every Thursday night, the third Thursday of the month, I'd go there with her, and she would tell them all about, and how she would say it is she had gone to this program and was interviewed about to get in. Yeah. And she just told the lady, I don't think I can get in because I have a job, I have a place to live, and I have a boyfriend. And the lady who she was talking to said, well, if you don't come in, you're going to lose those three things anyway. She didn't go in, and she had that experience that she lost the job, the apartment, and the boyfriend. And it was a great pitch, because she was involved intimately with the whole place. Now, she went out after years later. Yeah. And they found her dead in that apartment. She'd been dead for a couple of days. Her name was Laurie, and in memory of her, this meeting is here, really. In the memory of all of us that have been forgotten or difficult to remember. But there's been many of us, yeah? And what we attempt to share here is just a simple, before we get into the reading, a simple idea that which has defeated you is foreign to you. Now, I don't care if there's a you or not. Let's just say whatever you want to see it as. But can you imagine that you were taken over by a flu and you've been calling yourself that flu for the rest of your life? This is sort of like the illness or the disease of alcoholism. It's mental in origin, and it convinces the host that it's the parasite. Yes. So the flu has the person who has the flu taking themselves to be the flu. Yeah. And in that situation, a lot of possibilities are neutered or not available, which is you can't be free from it because you're identified as it. So what we do is we try to be free as it. Yeah. And then this happens so many times in our community, even after in recovery, they came to a conclusion that self can't get out of self, which is an incredible, it's like, finding you're totally abandoned and you find a message from someone who had been abandoned before. And it's very clear self can't get out of self. Yeah. What an incredible piece of information. Yeah. Because what they found out obviously was, without knowing it, they were trying to get out of the flu as the flu, which is an aspect of the flu. In the flu, you have the illness, and then you have your ideas about the illness. You think the ideas about the illness are not part of the illness, but they are part of the illness because the problem resides in the mind. Yeah. So the head is talking to you about the condition you're in, and it's the one that's producing the condition. Yeah. And this is why it says we're extremely self-centered people, but we don't think so. Yeah. Or the last person, someone who has a cursory little contact with me, probably knows I'm an addict or an alcoholic when I was out there. Yet I didn't. Yeah. It's just, don't you see some, aren't you curious about that activity? That the person who's suffering the most is the least aware of it. They're blaming others, doing this, doing that. And you see them in a minute, you know how fucked they are, but it may take a months in the program to get how fucked they are. Isn't that incredible? I mean, this isn't just phenomena, it's a pattern. It's a demonstration of the disease. Yeah. So, okay, so I got struck sober. It was a different experience. And I was introduced to AA that day, and AA has allowed me to stay sober. I did not get struck sober in AA. I got struck sober by the higher power, so to speak. Yes. And then it knew that it would have died on the vine unless I was introduced to a way of life. And that night I was introduced to AA. And I've been going for 36 years now. Yes. So the AA program and way of life extended the miracle of getting struck sober. That's how I see it. Yep. Okay. So after a few years of being sober, more is getting revealed to you constantly, as it says in the vision for us. Yeah. This power is going to constantly reveal to us stuff. Well, stuff was getting revealed. And it was purposeful because I had a role to play. I was leading these 4th step workshops, and I was, facilitating them. And I was constantly in the how it works chapter. Yeah. Because that's where the 4th step is brought about. And I read these pages thousands of times. And on page 64, I had read this thousands of times, but this one night I read it, I saw something completely different, and it's never changed since that day. Yeah. And what did I see? It's the 3rd paragraph. Everyone here has heard me ad nauseum with this, but this is the point. I'm just sharing the experience, strength, and hope. I'm not sharing a thesis. I'm sharing how it worked. And this is how it worked with me. Yeah. I was getting a lot of relief, from the outside circumstances and the physical health and anything, but I was still in the act of being bonded to self. Yeah. So the relief was going to be very limited, and it was going to be very conditional. Yeah. Yes. So 3rd paragraph, page 64, the 3rd sentence, being convinced. Now, being convinced, all of us who have been in this process know in their own intimate way what being convinced means to them. Yeah. Being convinced is finally to believe with certainty, let's say, that you're screwed. Yes. No ifs, ands, or buts, no delusion that if I could only manage better. No, it's come to a point where the house of cards has collapsed, and you're not avoiding that or denying it. It's obvious. Yes. So BAMO, being convinced, self, manifested in various ways, is what has defeated us. This is the whole sentence, this whole platform of Zoom is built on. Because I believe that the big book is a download. I do not believe it came from Bill W. or the 99 other people. I truly, if you read the 12 and 12, it has a wholly different feeling than the big book. And the 12 and 12 was written by Bill W. Now, I do not believe I believe the big book of AA is a download from the higher power. Seriously. I humbly believe that. Yeah. So a lot of times what they wrote, they didn't know what it meant. And you can see how they go back and forth. Sometimes self is what has defeated you. Then another time, you're the source of all your problems. What is it? I go into the first camp, that self, a foreign installment, has defeated us. I'm completely convinced of it. I'm convinced of its exact nature as foreign to us. I completely convinced of it. Happened, and it's never unhappened for now the last 31 years of sobriety, or 30 years of sobriety. Yeah. Before that, self was me somehow, whatever, ego or whatever. But who has an ego and who hopes to lose an ego? That's self. Self is not the ego. To me, the ego is an objectification of self by the head. It's like Dracula describing vampires and omitting itself as the head vampire. So I think the sense of self is different than the ego, the egoic structure. Yes, I just do. Because you feel like you have an ego. What is that that feels like it has an ego? I say that's the self, tell you the truth. Yeah. So, and the self is foreign to us. What? Oh, yeah. So what happens if that which has defeated is seen as foreign to me? The possibility that I, and therefore us, can be free from it. And then it will tell you, if you entertain that possibility, why it hadn't been available, because you've been living as self, aka called Paul, trying to get out of self. It makes total sense to Paul to get out of self, but Paul is self in a way. Yes? The one who's talking about the program is the target of the program. It's that's the problem. Yes? The problem is the bondage of self. How can you be bound to something that has defeated you? You must be identified as it. Yeah? That's a strange condition, to be bound to that which has defeated you. Even after it's been exposed as that which has defeated you, still bound to it. How could that happen? Because we're taking ourselves to be that. Yes? And now the self that has defeated us is seen from another aspect of self, that is the current Paul. And the self that we objectify was the past Paul. Yeah? Yeah. But now the current Paul is wedded to the past Paul, because all the actions that you were driven to do, you're still holding the blame for. You're still bound by the past based on you were the doer of all those insane fucking things that everyone else that has gone to that insane level seem to demonstrate the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same reactions. I think that's a pretty good clue that it's not us. Yeah. In Narcotics Anonymous, they have the 3 famous parking spaces that most people end up in: institution, jails, and death. And every one of us, while driven to those places, think we're the driver. This is the bondage of self. The driven, which is us, takes itself to be the driver, which we're not. Yeah. We are an action figure that's moved either by a lower power or the higher power. In the world of sobriety, there's only 2 masters. There's the lower power, which is based on faith in self, or the higher power, which is faith in the infinite. Now, you don't go to the faith in the infinite. You tell the truth about the faith in self. Because if you try to go to the infinite, you'll be having real faith in the self about the infinite. Yeah. So you lose interest in self, and then the faith can go to the infinite. And this is what the program triggers. Yes. You lose interest in self. It's the pivotal point on page 63. We just read it. What? We lose interest in ourselves, and we become less and less interested in ourselves, our little plans and designs. When you're obsessed with self, any plan looks little. When? Other people's plans look very little, but yours always look big. You ever go to one of those houses of mirrors and the mirror distorts you, makes you look super long? This is what the head does. The head makes mountains out of molehills. It's making big fucking Armageddons out of a little pang of discomfort. A lifelong depression is occurring right now because I feel I didn't get what I wanted or something. Yes? It's it makes things up and big and small and heavy and light. Yeah, it's a magician in a way. It's the playing God. We're the God juice. We are. And the head is playing God with our God juice, and we're at the effect of it. Yeah. So self has defeated us. How? By its manifestations. Do you agree with that? If you do, what are we going to do? We're going to look at its common manifestations. All right. What happens? Next paragraph, resentment. Resentment is a manifestation of self in one's life. Why do you keep calling it yours? It's very clear in this sentence that us and self are not the same thing. Us is the defeated, self is the defeater. Yeah? We are going to look at the defeater's manifestations in the defeated's life. And one of the ways the defeating keeps occurring is we keep calling the defeater's manifestations ours. You see it, you hear it. Most people who are presenting a fourth step to a newcomer says, we're going to look at your resentments, your fears, and your harms done to others. Those are manifestations of self in one's life. How is it going to go well when it starts off so crazy? Tell me. I passed it on the same way it was passed on to me. You're going to look at your resentments, your fears, your harms to others. This sentence is contrary to that. It says, your fears, resentments, and harming other people in pursuit of what you wanted are manifestations of self in your life. They are foreign to you. You're giving it sanctuary. You're the incubator for this shit to grow. You ever see the Matrix, where the whole Matrix, the whole imagined world is based, it's on everyone's sleeping in a little pod, and the energy of the life force is being sucked into the mainframe, and then this whole world is presented, while all the people that are seemingly appearing in the world are in these little fucking cocoon pods, out to lunch, watching this dream little thing and getting their life force sucked out of them. Sounds a lot like alcoholism. It does. The worst thing is we don't see ourselves down and out. This is the admittance of the first step. You're in the fucking cocoon and your life force is getting sucked out of you. Yeah. And that's why the movie's looking like it does. So this is the whole platform. I don't want to go into doership or anything like that. Just foreign, the nature of the problem is foreign to you, because that's what opened the door to be free from it for me. That's what it did. I was sober. I wasn't drinking and using for 7 years, but the bondage of self was finding a new home in recovery. It was adapting quite well. Quite well. Yeah. And then this little bomb blew up, and well, whatever, here I am every Tuesday and Thursday. Yes. Because I looked around in my own community. I never see anyone come from AA and where I live. Never. I was characterized and neutered years ago. Non self Paul, fourth step Paul, radical cleric Paul. As soon as you're given name and form, you're fucked. Yes. Yes, yes. The message goes, it syncs with the messenger. So thank God we made a website and got onto Zoom, so present it for other people in the program that may sort of find some relief in it. Because I just been tattooed here in my own community. Literally. It's a very strange thing if you say something at a meeting and everyone loves it, and then when they ask you, where can I get more of it? And you tell them about Zen Bitch Slap, you never see him again. So weird. If it's framed as AA, it's unbelievable. If it's seen as something other, it's just completely ignored. I watched this in my own life. It's been amazing. Literally, literally. So here we are. We have our own little nook and cranny. This is not an AA meeting. We presented, I was doing this thing since 34 years ago. I learned very quickly to separate it from AA. This is not an AA meeting, because I would have people come in and we'd announce it every meeting. And when people came in later, they'd say, this isn't in a meeting. I said, well, you would have known that if you would have came in on time. And then as they passed me, they'd whisper how much time they were sober. It was fucking insane. They go 28 years. What? Just blew my mind. I had just an innocent idea that this would be quite greeted with great relief, but it didn't work out that way. Like most things don't, so it's been pretty cool. But here we are. My verve for it hasn't changed because of the relief I found. Yeah. I don't see that which is disturbing me as any different than that which is disturbing you. I don't. I do not believe you have alcoholism. I believe alcoholism has you. Yeah, it's different, completely different. I know what defeated you because I've been defeated by it. Yeah. And it's not us. It really isn't. And I'm amazed that people, when they come into recovery, find the act of being grateful very easy and giving all credit to the higher power very easy. But what about the accountability of the lower power that did through us what we would have never done by ourselves? Something did through us, drove us to do all that shit, and we're still holding the bag. And not only holding the bag, we're looking into the bag still after 36 years. I did this, I did that. You were driven. It says it right in our book. Driven by 100 forms of something. Driven does not mean you're the driver. Yeah. The driver gets the ticket, not the car. But the thing that drove us to fucking all those pitiful, incomprehensible, demoralized states has gotten away with fucking murder, and we're still taking its counsel. We have a sober self now, established and readapted to the life of sobriety. But the bondage is just obvious. If you're still held by something that you thought you did 40 years ago, today, that is the bondage of self. I don't see that as attractive whatsoever. I don't. So all glory goes to the higher power, but almost no accountability goes to the lower power. How is that going on? Because the lower power has us in a fucking trance. We're still held as the doer of that shit that we were used to be. We were driven. We were like a form of transportation for the self, this disease, to express itself. Yes? No, still going over something you didn't do 40 years ago. Being weighed down by this guilt and shame. It's like having an umbilical cord still connected to you. Yeah? This is why we get reborn, because when we get reborn in the program, that umbilical cord to the past gets severed. Yeah? We see that something drove us to do that shit. Yeah. That to me is, you don't shut the door on the past, but nor do you review it all fucking day. Yes? Well, So this is the platform. All the other stuff, there's people that know every sentence of the book. They know what the word trudging meant in 1935, and they'll explain it to you. Let's go ever, they're perfect. But I never heard this before, and I was in a thriving community of San Francisco. I did not hear this, it's just a passing, it's sort of like this one stain that never gets washed by all the spiritual car washes we go through. The one stain of being identified as self. Yeah. So this is our humble presentation. I hope you find some value in it. Yes. That's what happened to me. I was handcuffed in recovery. I was handcuffed there because I was identified as self, attempting to get out of self. Yeah. I could not see it because that self that was trying to get out of self was called Paul. And then the self that had been called Paul for 30 something years had been objectified and now was called self. But it just took the contemporary Paul. It just took over this now. Yeah. And then it went over all that what self did in the past as a self in the present. It's fucking insane. Yeah. So this is really reborn, like Michael said, reborn. What does reborn look like? A new basis, yeah? A new attitude and outlook, a new freedom and a new happiness. Not a fucking revamped, rehabbed, yeah, vintage happiness and freedom, which that has nothing to do with happiness and freedom. No, a new one, yeah? Which is a discovery, a revelation, yeah? So perhaps there's a better way. What is the better way? Trusting the infinite rather than finite self. It seems like we represent trust in that statement, and our trust can be put in self or the infinite. Tell the truth where it is. Yeah, where is your trust? Where is your faith? If it's in the finite self, yeah, you're going to live in a lot of mental anxiety, literally, because you're going to really believe the thoughts and what they're telling you. Yeah. Not because the thoughts are valid, but because the faith you have in the thoughts. Yeah. Your faith in the thoughts is so great, you'll be defeated over and over and over again. Yeah. And yet, when you're in the bottom of defeat, you'll still rely on the thoughts. You'll still have faith in self. Yeah. You will. This program will cause a migration. It pivots all on the losing interest in self. The whole thing pivots on that. Yeah. It doesn't say you are going to lose interest in self, because in this point, you is self. Yeah. And when self tries to lose interest in self, that's just interest in self. Yeah. But there'll be a loss of interest in self, and you, as not self, will observe it. Yeah. And you will be reborn. Yeah. You were born, then you were born into self, and now you're going to be reborn out of self. Yes. This is what the program gives us. So now we can truly see the both aspects of self, the objectified one and the subjectified aspect. So what's talking to you about self right now is self. This is why self-knowledge avails us nothing, because the self claims all the knowledge about itself and neuters it. Yeah. And now you become an expert about going out, but you keep going out. Yeah. Have you met any people in AA that the solution is part of the problem now? They've been in and out so much that when they go out, they now talk they talk about being in the program, about going out, but the in is a part of the out. Yeah. So you just say, I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear your take on alcoholism. Go to a fucking meeting. I don't. Yeah, because your take on alcoholism is alcoholism talking about alcoholism. I'm fucking sick and tired of it. Yeah, because you keep going out. So shut up, go to the meeting, and don't call me, literally. Don't call me till you have a commitment. Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear your take on the problem. It's just an extension of the problem by now. They've gone in and out so much. The solution to the problem is like having a salt and pepper shaker in one. It's all mixed up. Yeah. What are people gonna do? They've been driven to such a point, they're going to Peru and doing 3 ayahuascas in a week just because, and yet they still go back out. They take the ibogaine to get rid of the heroin thing. Last for a month or two, still go back out because they passed a point where they need a way of life. Yeah. There's no way of life called ayahuasca. You're not from Peru. You don't live on the Amazon. You can't paint your face, you know? And how many times can you do a ceremony before it's a habit? Yeah. I mean, if I've done 60 ceremonies, I'd be fucking suspect about that. Nothing to say about ayahuasca. People are trying whatever they can. Now, ketamine and all this other shit. Good luck. But the problem resides in the mind. Yeah. The real addiction is the head's addiction to the idea of being a long-lasting, independent, separate thing, pictured as a body, but representing that you're the thinker, the doer, the feeler, the taster, the toucher, the haver, the loser. You're everything. Yeah. And in a weird way you are, but in a mental way it doesn't work. Yeah. You being everything does not work. Yeah. Some people just need a way of life. So that correction can take time and build a solid foundation. Yeah. I mean, for many of us here, the problem does not exist for us right now. The problem does not exist for me during the day, every day for years. I have a lot of problems. And some of them are made up and some of them seem real for a period of time. But that problem never shows up anymore. Can you imagine the power that problem that dominated you completely does not exist for you anymore? What an incredible solution. It's just mind-boggling. Yeah. I mean, I come up with a lot of gripes. Like I just was somewhere, whatever. Not one time did the elephant in the room show up. Yeah. Not once. Hasn't been around for years and years and years. Could you imagine? I tell you, I believe the results of AA are in rarefied air when it comes to solutions. Most solutions aren't worth the fucking word. Yeah. They demand so much. And then, oh, your solution by taking a pill, you get addicted to that pill. And then you got to take another pill to get off. Yes. Those to me aren't solutions. The solution offered here that the problem will not exist for you if you see the problem does not exist as you is unbelievable. It is, truly. So, yeah. All right, let me finish this thing, if you don't mind. Sorry, I'm going off. I haven't been here for a few days. A lot of shit was revealed to me the last few days. So here, when we sincerely took such a position, and remember, you're gonna get established on in that position, yeah? The effects change when you move from sincerely to established. So when we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. We had a new employer. That implies there was an old employer, yes? If there wasn't an old employer, they would have said, we have an employer, like the first and only employer. No, you've had an old employer. Something has been using you like the higher power is going to do. Yeah. We had a new employer being all powerful. Wow. Yeah. Me not being all powerful, I'm not going to try to understand what that means, but I'm open to find out. This power being all powerful, I'm open to find out. And I'm not going to block it with my little myopic understanding. I'm going to say fuck that and open up. Yeah, why not? He provided what we needed. Incredible, eh? Could you imagine if someone made that deal and delivered the goods? He provided what we needed. He, she, it, whatever. It doesn't matter. If we kept close to him, how can you get away from everywhere? Yeah, so you've already fulfilled that requirement. So there's only one requirement. Can you imagine? The one requirement is to perform his work well. That's a pretty vague thing, eh? You could actually think right now I'm performing its work and I'm going to give it well. Let's say a B plus or a C minus. A B plus, let's say. I'm performing his works well. All right. So therefore, I can rest assured I'm going to be taken care of. I'm maybe not going to get what I want, but the needs are going to be met. Yeah. All right. I'm all for that. Established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves. So now, when you feel like you're going to be taken care of, you're not relying on your head to take care of yourself as much. Yes. So we're replacing the old employer with the new employer. Yeah, we are. That's the deal. We're in a transition period, and we're hoping to break the old gravitational field and then get into that jet stream of the infinite gravitational field. Yes, by staying sober a day at a time for some period of time. So established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves. Yeah, our little plans and designs. Because what are our plans and designs about? Trying to be fucking okay. Yes? And not over now, but maybe a little bit into the future. But what we've been relying on was completely unreliable. Yeah? And we've questioned, instead of questioning the unreliability of it, we've questioned the faith. We've questioned that I have to manage better. I got to do more. Yes? More. And when did you think your plans and designs were little when you were out there? Come on. You never did. Everyone else's plans were little. Yours were very, very important and large. Yeah. More and more, more and more. Is there any stopping to it? No. More and more. You could have got more and more and more and more. We became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life. As we felt new power flow in. Yeah. This is the solution to the dilemma of powerlessness. Yeah. As we enjoyed peace of mind. It doesn't say as we made peace of mind. We don't make peace of mind. Peace of mind is available. We're not. Yeah. Because we're up the ass of self, we're not available to peace of mind. And now, when we're losing interest in self, we find ourselves available to peace of mind. Yeah. Like we're into it. It's nice. It's nice to sit here and feel something that doesn't feel like it's a locomotive going to the next moment. You just feel the presence of this breath and shit. As we felt new power flow and as we enjoyed peace of mind, as we discovered we could face life successfully. We did not believe we could face life successfully, did you? When you were in the throes of addiction, I was avoiding and denying and just fucking trying to stay clear as much as possible to life because I did not believe I could face life successfully. I did not. My faith in self had me completely paralyzed. Completely. As we discovered we could face life successfully, as we became conscious of his presence. Yeah, because we got to become unconscious to the mental presence. Yeah. We're so conscious of the mental presence, it's made us seemingly unconscious to the presence. Of what? Of I amness, of onness, yeah? I believe a mental here was here, and my imperative was escape here as much and as long as possible. I didn't know it was like a shine that was covering the real here, which is where my solution lied. Yeah. We began to lose, all right, as we became conscious of his presence, we began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, the hereafter. And the began to lose is going to end at you've lost fear of today, tomorrow, and hereafter. That doesn't go on ad infinitum. Yeah. There's a certain point where you began to lose and you have and you have lost. Yeah. It doesn't stay with on and on. Yeah. There's a state that you have lost the fear of today, tomorrow, the hereafter. As Michael wanted to hear, we were reborn. Yeah. So we were born, then the mental state spawned this idea of self, and now we've been reborn based on our true nature, which is spirit. Yes. So the false being born as self and the life of self has been lost interest in, and that is the reborn. Yeah. Like my friend said, he was misintroduced to God, so he had to get reintroduced to God. And yeah, because he was introduced to God through self and he got reintroduced to God through the program. Not a bad way of looking at it, eh? Yeah. All right, so that was the reading. I mean, if you're in the program, you've gone through this. Yeah. You've gone through, like, I sincerely took it when I came in, but I was not established in it yet. Yeah. I had to do stuff. I had to keep commitments and this and that. And then I get established in that reliance on something greater than myself. And then all this other shit happened. And I learned I could face life successfully. I learned that if I asked someone I wanted to go out with and they said no, it wasn't going to kill me. By doing what? Asking a girl out, which I would never do unless the bet was hedged. You know what I mean? Because I was super afraid of getting rejected, even because I was living in a self-rejection completely. Yeah. Without knowing any of it. So life, yeah, and it's a safe place in recovery because we're a lot of bunch of assholes in a lot of ways. So we can fail here and so what? So, yes, we were now at step 3. So step 3, yes. What precedes step 3 in importance? What precedes it in the book? The quit playing God. Quit playing God precedes the importance of the 3rd step. It says first, you have to quit playing God. Now, when I first read that, I thought I was the one playing God and I was going to have to quit playing God. Yes? Now, if that was the case, if I was the one that was playing God and I tried to quit playing God, couldn't that be seen as playing God? Yes. So my experience of quitting playing God is losing interest in that which is playing God. That's how I see it. I've lost interest in self, and it's self that's playing God. Yep. It keeps playing God, but now instead of being like a CNN news channel, it's a Comedy Central channel. Yeah, it's like a parody of I mean, It's cried wolf thousands of fucking times. Yeah. As the wolf. That's the weird thing. So, yeah. Anyone like to share anything? I'm sorry I took up the whole meeting, really. What are you going to do? More gets revealed. So, the last time I talked was Thursday. A lot of shit downloaded. Yeah. Yeah. But all of it's based on the foreignness of the thing that has defeated us, because that's what allowed me to be free from those handcuffs. Yeah, it did. It was very cool when I saw self as not me. It was profoundly influential. Yeah, so this is what we're offering here. Yeah.
Hey, Paul, Kathy has her hand up. Hi, Kathy.
Come on, Kathy.
Hi, everyone. Kathy. I'm a recovered alcoholic. Um, I just wanted to say how this, what you've talked about has cleared up. I suffered from from depression from the time I was 17 to the time I was 60, or maybe even a little older when I came into this program. And I took medications for off and on for all those many years. I even did ECT because I thought that's what I had to do to get rid of depression. And, learning that like depression had me and I didn't have depression, losing interest in it. And it's gone. It's gone. And I take no more medication for depression. It's just, as you said, losing interest in, where it talks about we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life. And I have a little note there about looking at page 20. And page 20, at the top of 20, it says, our very lives. So not our happiness or anything else, our very lives as ex-problem drinkers depend upon our constant thought of others and how we may help meet their needs. So losing interest in myself and thinking about others has taken away the obsession to drink, the obsession I had to smoke pot. I just want to thank you for also for clearing up how that happened. I mean, like I knew that following the program had taken away my depression, but I didn't fully understand about the being driven and the difference between self and us, so understanding that just even makes it clearer, and I don't worry about drinking. I don't worry about depression. And it's just a wonderful thing. And I follow the program. I mean, I work the steps. It's as we talk about, a design for living that works.
Yes.
I guess I just want to make that. Thank you.
Great. Yes. It's a phenomena in a way. I remember when I was younger, I had trouble with my health. And of course, self was going to change that. And I got involved with this eating called macrobiotics, which was from Japan. And you wouldn't drink any thing other than bancha tea. I'd go into a sauna, I wouldn't sweat. I had no water content in me. And all day my head was just dwelling on the small intestine. It was just way too fucking much. And then when I lost interest in it, I got better. Yeah. When I stopped trying to get better, I actually got better. And I fell upon a principle that it's worked for me. Yeah. A lot of things go away, not through interest, but losing interest, to tell you the truth. And it's dangerous when we keep throwing name and form around. Yeah, because I'm sure a lot of mortal diseases have come and gone in you without knowing. Yeah, possibilities. But when the head gets a hold of it and puts a name on it and gives it a form, meaning you, it can have a field day in being the one who is sick. Yeah, and then there's an investment in the sickness that's more important than you getting better from the sickness. Yeah, it's sucking out something from being ill that's in one of its weird mutated desires. So you're in a cognitive dissonant condition. You really want to be free, but that which is running your life doesn't want to be free. Yeah, it has, the sickness has given it another identity, so to speak, and it doesn't want to lose that identity. It's amazing, eh? This isn't about mastering anything like that. This implies that you're in a position of being mastered. Yeah, and there's, in AA's view, there's only two options, or as Jesus said, you cannot serve two masters at the same time. So, and they're basically saying the better way is trusting the infinite rather than finite self. So we're just emphasizing the trust in finite self. So to recognize self has had a lot of trust in self. Yeah. Yeah. And see where it takes you. And as you just said, something that all your work didn't clear up got cleared up by losing interest. Yeah. I'd say, I'm not saying this is for everyone, but this is how sometimes it works. Yeah. The interest, if it's directed by self, obviously, it plays like the role of a magnifying glass. Yeah. So when you're looking at something from the myopic view, all proportion and size is altered. Yes. So you're not, and this is a disease of perception. So how you're perceiving things is off, way off. And it's all rooted in the interest. Yeah. So the program breaks it and starts really working when the first losing interest in self starts occurring. Yeah. 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 So I could go on and on about it, but it gets more and more subtle. And I think you have the feelings of it already. You just maybe need to have a pointer to it. But like I've spent 2 years in a program 24/7. And you know what? When they were talking to me, they was always seeing me as an addict. When I was hearing what they were saying, I was hearing it as Paul, and I was taking offense at what they were saying to me a lot of the time. But they were clearer about me than I was. They knew what I was, which was a fucking washed up addict. And they were dealing with me exactly the way an addict needed to be dealt with. Now, I took offense at that because I didn't see myself as an addict. I saw myself as Paul. Yeah. But Paul was submerged way down there. Yeah. And when I left that place, I didn't like them and I didn't like their principles, but I had to begrudgingly admit that my life looked better with them running it than it ever did with me running it. And that was a 2-year experiment. It wasn't like a weekend. 2 years from 85 to 87, I was in that facility. So the evidence was building up. I just needed the right light. I don't need any more wood. I don't. I got enough wood. I need the fire. I need the light. I don't need more defeat. I don't. I have plenty of defeat in this life. I need a clearer understanding of what? The exact nature of the wrong. And our understanding is that the nature of the wrong is foreign to us. Therefore, instead of trying to be free as it or with it or through it, you can be free from it. Yeah? And we are stubbornly staying on that point. Because I know what the head does. I know what it does. It'll make it something that fits itself, fits around it, instead of you fitting around, this message. This thing will suck it in and make it something. Yeah. 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 All right. Thank you. Anyone else want to share, or we'll just get going? I'm not going anywhere. So where am I getting going? I don't know. Breakfast, maybe.
Get a nice
What?
coffee.
What?
No, there's no other hands up.
That's right. One day we'll have to have a coffee after the meeting on Zoom. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. We got Kathleen in Pennsylvania. Thank you, Kathleen. And welcome our friend Sarah, I think. Yes. It didn't kill you, I hope. I don't think so. See, what says it's going to kill you is actually telling the truth. It's going to kill it, but not you. Yeah. But see, we talk when we hear it talk about its condition, we take it to be our condition. Don't you see? It's telling the truth when it says a resentment is my resentment, because it is self's resentment. But we hear that and we're identified as self, so we say it's my resentment. So when it tells the truth, it's turned into our truth, which it isn't. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Kathy from Cleveland, thank you. I'm happy, Kathy, very much. Isn't, I think one of the greatest roles we can play here is to, in one small or large part, bring an alleviation of heaviness from people. Yes, so that's great, fantastic. So we have Terry with a phone number. Nice to see you, Terry. Kathy in Cleveland, Steve in San Diego, Mickey, our eternal greeter, yes. Eileen in New York with a co-conspirator right there. All right, nice to see you. John in Florida. Your heart's working, John, eh? Oh, great, great. Rico, a man of his word. Joseph in France, nice to see you. Walter in the Netherlands. Kurt Zimmerman down in Redondo. Jess L. Ireland. Dublin, yes, somewhere. Roman Mueller, wow. We got Tomas. We had 3 of our friends we met in Pescara, Jess, Roman, and Tomas. Nice to see you all. J.A., Canada. Oliver, Berlin. Axel, Germany. Well, we had a pleasure to meet Axel. He was the last guest of the 3-week thing. Teresa, nice to see you. Rob S. Let me go to this page. Basties something. Where was that? We got Mel in the UK. Rick Rowe, Canada. Fletch. Ben. Mike M. down in LA. Mike Q. Oh, Mick Q. Mick Q. Jason. Soren. Basties phone. I think I got everyone. Hey, thank you so much. We'll be here tomorrow. Oh, we're here today at 4:30 Western time on another topic, but it's hard to see the difference at times. But yes, it's a non-duality meeting, 4:30 Pacific time. Come on, join us if you like. And all the events are on the event page. There's just one Zoom room and no password. And usually someone opens the meeting 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes before. So come join us if you like. Remember, we all play a role in this loving power expressing itself in our group conscience.